Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and from unboxings.com here, courtesy of our friends over at King of Gadgets. We have the Motorola Pro Plus. A quick unboxing video for you and a little bit of a demo, and see what we've got inside. So first of all, brand new, so we need to just cut the seal, like so, and slide the box open. And inside, on top, we have the handset itself without the battery and the back cover, so we'll dig further inside to find those. So first of all, we have the battery, which is a where's the capacity, is that listed on here? 1550 milliamp hours, so that's that. Then we have a charger, or cable rather, so it's a standard USB to micro USB sync charge cable. Then we have the back cover, which we're going to need, so let me just take that out. So it's a plastic back cover with a sort of strange wavy grooves on it design, so it's sort of textured, probably means that it doesn't slip out your hand so easily, so that's probably a good idea. We then have a USB style charger, so a USB socket on the top, UK 3-pin plug, won't bother to unwrap that right now. Wired headset, we'll just look at. So, 4-pole 3.5mm jack, there's an inline microphone with a push button, quite simple, and then the headphones themselves on the other end, fairly lightweight plastic. As for how good they are, I don't know, but like with every other headset, I'm sure you're going to want to use your own headphones, or a better quality wired headset with it than those that come with. So, last two things, we've got manuals. So we've got think about your warranty and FCC statement, and then the small manual itself, very lightweight documentation. It is printed in colour, it's more leaflet style, covering the basics rather than a full-blown manual. Let's just move all these bits out of the way and we'll grab the handset and take a look around. First of all, we're going to just peel the screen protector off there so we can see a bit better. Okay, so on the front, first of all, we have a 3.1 inch display. It is a VGA display, so that's 480 by 640 pixels. A bit more unusual, the display size at the moment. Typically they're coming in WVGA or HVGA, but nonetheless we have VGA. This is a capacitive touch screen. Underneath we have 4 capacitive buttons, so that's menu, home, back and search. Then we have a QWERTY keyboard. Looks very, very similar to a BlackBerry keyboard. Even the angling, if you can pick that out, even the angling of the keys, slightly angled rather than flat and square. So slightly angled, that's very, very similar to that you find on a BlackBerry. And even the layout of the keys are very, very similar. Alt, Shift and space along the bottom. There's also a voice, or like a microphone button on the side there as well. Around the outside, on the left, we've just got the USB, micro USB connector for the sync and charge. Nothing really on the bottom. And on the right hand side, again, just an up and down volume control. Nothing else there, no dedicated camera button or anything like that. On the top we have the power button, and then the 3.5mm headphone socket, so we can use the wired headset that comes with it, or indeed our own headphones. On the back we have a 5-megapixel autofocus camera. We've got an LED flash next to that as well. Then the cavity there, which is obviously for the battery. I'll just pop that in now. Which goes that way, like so. And then we have space for the micro SD memory card, which supports up to 32 gig micro SD HC memory cards, and then the SIM card goes next to that as well. No memory card supplied with it. I don't think I've missed it in the packaging there, so you are going to have to want to get one of your own. Although the internal memory on this is 4 gig, I suspect you probably want to use your own memory card as well. I'll just pop the back cover on. Actually, the wrong way around, it goes on the bottom first, because there's actually a little lip inside at the bottom, which just goes over the front, and that cover pops on. So it is a plastic back, which seemed a bit flimsy until it was on and in place. Actually, now it's on, it feels reasonably secure. So let's just power up. And a little LED came on the top there. We'll just wait for that to come on. I'll run down the rest of the specification for you. It is quad band for GSM and tri-band for HSDPA, so roaming won't be too much of an issue. Size 119.5mm from top to bottom, 62mm wide and 11.7mm thick. Feels quite lightweight, indeed it is. It's 113 grams, which is pretty impressive considering really the size of it and the fact that it does have the QWERTY keyboard. Looks like a nice little compromise in terms of having capacitive touchscreen and the QWERTY keyboard. It's a fairly decent screen size for a device to have both of those, so not bad at all. As I mentioned already, 4GB of internal storage or ROM that is user accessible and 512 meg of RAM. There is a 1 GHz Qualcomm processor, but it is single core, running Android OS 2.3 Gingerbread. In terms of the rest specification, it's pretty straightforward. There is a built-in GPS chipset supporting AGPS, along with the camera on the back. It does support geotagging, so you can obviously place the location of the photographs when you take them. The camera on the back doesn't mention in the specification that it can record HD video, so perhaps it can't. We'll come to that when we actually do the full review and we'll find out. Wi-Fi supports 802.11b and N standards, and there is also Bluetooth as well, Bluetooth 2.1 with A2DP and EDR support. I think that covers pretty much the basics, so let's take a look and see if we can get cells set up. No SIM card. Okay, is this one of these that we require a SIM card to make the thing work? Looks like that might be the case. Yeah, so let's just pop a SIM card in. Let's pop in a SIM card then. So back cover off, battery needs to come out. And we'll grab our SIM card. That slides in just underneath there. And then we'll also put in a memory card just for good measure. Pop battery back in and the cover back on. Let's power back up. There we go. We notice around the outside there is a sort of a protective plastic. We'll just peel that off as well while we're at it. And the outside. And that has actually revealed what's hidden, which is actually a slightly metallic-y finish to the bezel around the outside, which is very basically black but slightly metallic finish around the outside, which is kind of cool. Again, it seems to be very BlackBerry-esque, though I guess you could argue that any phone of this form factor would be reminiscent of BlackBerry. I find it quite infuriating that handsets that need or insist upon SD memory cards being installed, but nevertheless, let's go. There we go, so we're going to set up a Wi-Fi connection. And it's going to go ahead and search for them. So we're going to connect to this one. Doesn't appear to have an on-screen keyboard alternative to the QWERTY, but that's okay. We're just going to connect to that, obtain an IP address. We are connected. And we'll set up an account later because I just really want to kind of get through to show you the OS. Okay, so it looks like we've pretty much started up. So starting at the middle, and we have the Google search with a voice search with voicemail, browser, maps, Android Market, phone dialer, camera, email, and I don't know what that one is. That's basically our app launcher. So it's down the side, down in the corner there, rather than any other place. Panel wise, we have 7 panels. So we have calendar and email, alarm, Gmail, tasks, quick office, and again the 4 things down the bottom don't move, they are fixed in place. Blank screen, and another one. Come back the other way. and we've got basically power settings and so flight mode or flight safe mode on and off, Bluetooth on and off, GPS on and off, and Wi-Fi on and off. Social network there, music, camcorder, gallery, and settings menu, and then another 2 blank panels that we can just add widgets to if we want to. There's a set of Motorola widgets there, quite a few, and there are also some standard Android widgets, again quite a few, to actually customise the display. So you can download more if you wanted to as well. In the settings menu, we've got things for the wireless networks, call, settings, sound, display. I've managed to actually press one rather than actually just scrolling. And if we go to about, we can look at information in here, Android version 2.3.5, and all that kind of information in there as well. We've already set up to a wireless network anyway, so we don't really need to worry about that too much for just for the moment. In terms of installed applications or stuff that it ships with, 7 digital, nice icons though, nice icon set that's custom. So the browser and calculator, straightforward DLNA support there, email and gallery, go to meeting, quick office is there, settings, social networking, and all that kind of stuff. Task manager is going to be pretty useful. Straightforward stuff, nothing too out of the ordinary there. We'll just take a quick look at the browser. And we're not going to Google, we're going to go to our site. So we're loading pretty fast. Obviously remember we are using a broadband connection on Wi-Fi rather than a wireless network or a phone network. We loaded pretty quickly. The screen quality isn't bad, certainly not to the AMOLED or Super AMOLED standards, but it's not terrible by any means. Only 480 by 640, so it struggles a little bit in rendering sort of websites that are probably designed for desktop. So that's working okay. There is accelerometer support there, so it actually does change around, and 2-finger multi-touch for the zoom modes. The auto rotate is pretty cool, unlike most handsets that just switch from one to the other. Is an animation there, which is kind of fun, if not unuseful, but that's pretty cool. So the browser works fine, just as you'd expect though really. We'll have a quick look at YouTube and search for my cat name. One thing that does seem to be is that the touchscreen isn't among the most sensitive. Although it's capacitive, it does seem to want a little bit of a firmer touch in order to make that work, but there's a few here we can go ahead and look at. Let's take a look at the matrix. Let's see how quickly that buffers and plays. There we go. That played pretty quickly. We turn it around the other way, it does full screen. I'll switch it back. And that works quite well. Even when you're in pause mode, it does change from full screen to partial screen in landscape and portrait mode, which is not all of the handsets do. In fact, some of them don't actually refresh until you actually press play. But nonetheless, there we go. So that's the YouTube client. Again, this is a pretty standard YouTube client for Android. So I've got to look at the task manager. It'll list out the applications that are running. There we go. So we've got stuff that's running here. List of things that are running in the background. So we just close those off. That would actually show us the CPU occupancy of those. And we'll just take a look into Android Market, which is going to require me to sign in. So let's go ahead and do that now. So you want to see even the keyboard even feels like a BlackBerry keyboard in use. I'm a BlackBerry user, and as well as an iPhone, and well, practically every phone user, but I do have a BlackBerry I use fairly regularly, and it just feels pretty much like a BlackBerry Bold 9780, to be honest with you. That's necessarily a bad thing. Let's take a look. Okay, so into Android Market, and we've signed in. So the standard implementation of Android Market once again. You've got your apps and games, but unlike some other manufacturers, there isn't a Motorola icon on the side. Many other manufacturers will actually have an icon here where it says My Apps. That will say, for example, HTC Apps or something like that, or Sony Ericsson. And generally going into here would be sort of like recommendations by the manufacturer, stuff that they're basically pushing. But here you can see apps that are either installed or in need of an update. So there's one there in need of an update at the top, which is the YouTube client. But what we're going to do is do a quick search for Quadrant, which is the benchmarking tool that we use, most people use in fact. So we just quickly run the Quadrant standard, pull that down at the top, you can see that it's downloading. We've got some notifications in there, battery mode set to night time, there's a couple of available updates, and it's telling me that we've successfully installed Quadrant, and also primary storage location has been set to the SD card. So we swipe that back up, go back home, and we actually go into, oops, not that one, that one, look for Quadrant, it should be in here somewhere, there we go, missed it. Okay, so we'll run that benchmark. So running CPU tests, memory and I/O tests, as well as 2D and 3D graphics. Let's see how quickly it runs through those. Just gives us some indication of the speed. So it's running around 23 frames a second, 40, down to 30 there, 40. Yeah, so averaging around 30 to 40. Pretty good. 60, not particularly stable, around 60-ish frames a second though there, 29 frames a second there, and we're practically at the end. There we go, so let's get our benchmark score. That's pretty impressive actually, 1905, 1 GHz processor, single core, that's one of the highest scores I've seen lately. Certainly much higher than that of the Sony Ericsson Xperia Pro that we reviewed videoed a couple of days ago, which is around the 1600 I believe. So 1905, that's a pretty impressive score. Generally when we do a review though, we'll run that maybe around 10 times, take an average, because that can fluctuate quite a bit every time you run the benchmark. So we'll actually run that a few times before we sort of kind of commit to an approximate. Take a quick look at Google Maps and we'll just see if we can pick up a GPS signal indoors. Some handsets do, some handsets don't, so let's turn off use wireless networks and just use GPS satellites. Go back home. Let's see if it will pick up a location. We get a few seconds to see if it will pick up one. See there's an indicator at the top there flashing away. It is trying to get a GPS fix. It seems not to be getting one. Location terminal available. Not all handsets can pick them up indoors. Some are better than others at doing that. As you can see, if we push the home button while we are on home screen, we get the overview, sometimes known as helicopter view, and it just shows us the widgets that we have on the home screen. You can see we've got 4 that are empty and 3 that have widgets on them. Nice little animation there at the bottom as the icons slide in. That's kind of fun. Don't know if we can do pinch. No, if we on some handsets when you pinch on the home screen you can also get into the overview or helicopter view. Phone dialer, pretty straightforward, so fairly large keys, dial's okay, pretty much what you would expect it to do. We've got recent contacts and favourites there as well. James is one of my favourites, oh bless him. Okay, so that's pretty much overview of that. We just will take a look at the camera. Don't have anything particularly exciting, so we'll just use the box here to just have a look at. And enable geotagging as well, what it's worth. So let's take a quick snap. Wow, that's pretty loud for the shutter sound. Let's just take another one. Hopefully you can disable that because that is excessively loud. But that's taken a quick shot. In here we can also change the zoom, which is just obviously a digital zoom, and then we can switch between video camera, and whoops, let's try that again. Video camera and camcorder modes, and still mode rather. Pull down at the top, we have settings, change the flash and brightness modes and scene selections. So we're looking at settings, there we go. So we can record 720p video, so that may be missing from the listed specification, but it seems that we can actually record HD video 720p, so that's kind of cool. So we cancel out of that, swipe that back, and then when we touch in the corner we can just go to the gallery. Pictures are kind of okay. I mean, it's not a fantastic thing that we're trying to take a picture of anyway, so it's not very exciting. And when we do the full review, we'll take a whole host of photographs just so that we can get a comparison to this and other obviously handsets that we might be reviewing. But that works okay. 5 megapixels actually. I think I've still got the lens protector on there anyway, so it's not a great comparison anyway. So we'll do some more photographs when we do the full review anyway. We'll take some macros, use the flash, internal, external, all that kind of stuff, just to see how it compares. Anyway, it's a quick overview of the Motorola Pro Plus. We'll have a full review for you over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's twitter.com/TracyandMatt or facebook.com/tracyandmatt.co.uk. Please do follow or like us, and ask us any questions, get in touch with us, and we'll do our best to answer you about this and any other handset that we're reviewing at the moment. If you want to pick one of these up, head over to King of Gadgets. They have them in stock right now. I'm not sure what the price is at the moment, but check it out, they have them in stock. But I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk. But for now, thanks for watching.